Hello, everyone on Instagram. Today is episode 6 of our Q&A. Let me invite Diana. Fingers crossed she can join us. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I
Okay,
can hear you.
good. Okay, perfect.
Sorry, I'm having issues with my headphones, so
Okay.
let's see how it goes. Yeah, we're live, and it's episode 6 today, Diana. How are you feeling? Ah, you have froze. Hi, Vimal.
Is this good now?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
good now.
awesome.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good.
It's our episode. I just finished saying it's our episode 6, and how are you feeling about it?
Very good. Uh, time flies, hey? Like I can't believe it's 6 episodes already, and we had a very successful gathering with our Facebook friends. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
excited.
and many more to come, right?
That's
So
right.
let's
That's
get
right.
going with this one.
Yeah.
I'll start with the question,
All right.
and let's gather our thoughts. This question is about dealing with traumas in relationships. So my partner went through a lot of trauma during childhood, and it's affecting how he deals with conflict in ways that aren't very helpful. I'm doing my best to be understanding and give him space, but I'm feeling drained, especially since we have 2 kids who also require our attention. Are there strategies to effectively tackle and overcome past emotional baggage or traumas that are affecting our relationship?
This is not the most easy question to answer in a short span of time that we have. So I'll answer first, right?
Okay, you go first.
Okay.
And before you go, I just want to acknowledge we have Mohammed who's watching. Hi, Mohammed.
Hi, hi.
Yeah, carry
Welcome,
on.
welcome. Yeah. But first, I would just want to acknowledge that we are not expert in trauma work. I have done in psychotherapy, I have done some trauma work, but not in depth. So, whoever is listening and watching this, we would like you to see what aligns with you, with what we share and advise or strategies that we find helpful. But by any means, I would like you to first uh, search for a trauma therapist or somebody who you know that is a specialist in this kind of work. So for me, it's in the relationship aspect of this, it's very difficult, um, especially with kids involved in it, because I think when there's no kids, you could actually focus on your work internally and as a relationship together. But when there are kids involved, it's very difficult. So the first thing that I would suggest if I were in your shoes is to search for professional help. And if that is a coach or a psychotherapist or a psychologist or a counselor, um, to understand the depths of the trauma that he experienced. And I would encourage the both of you to sit down and really be honest about what's happening in the relationship,
Mm,
and accept the fact that you both need help. So I wouldn't suggest doing relationship work together yet, because there's a lot of like what she said, there's a lot of trauma that he experienced. What I would suggest is to set the boundary about how you want to work around your relationship as a couple and what those goals are. So if your goal is to have a healthy relationship, what does that look like? Right? So if that means he needs to go to therapy on his own, he needs to step up and do that. And then she needs to go to therapy on her own and talk about how she can support herself and her partner. Because what happens often is when one partner is having a hard time, we build this codependency, unbeknownst to us, because sometimes we go into a taking care mode because we just want the pain to go away. And what happens often is we neglect our needs, we neglect ourselves so that we can take care of of our partner. And over time, when that becomes a pattern, resentments can build up.
True.
Because when you have a codependency relationship, you tend to build resentment quietly. And when that happens, you neglect yourself, you become more angry, you become more, you withhold some love for yourself and other people. And it's not conducive to building a healthy family and a good example for your kids. So setting the boundary of what your relationship you want to look like. Self-care is very important. Don't neglect yourself. And when I say about boundary, it's about how much am I willing to give in this relationship so that I don't abandon myself. What tends to happen is that when there is a conflict, we tend to go outwards, right? We don't go inwards and ask ourselves, what's happening for me right now? What happens usually is we go outwards and we point fingers. Like, you did this, you did that, you have trauma, you're causing this. And I think that it's very important to pause for a moment and ask, how is this behavior impacting me? And what am I doing in this relationship that is contributing to this chaos or to this conflict? What is my part in here? Because this is a relationship. We can't forget that this is a relationship, that both of you have a part in how you want the relationship to look like. It can't be just your husband. It can't be just you. It's just like a dance, you know. If you tango by yourself, then there's really no partnership in it. And when you build the goal and understanding that where you want to be, then you can pinpoint what those actions are. Because sometimes when we don't have a goal in the relationship, when the conflict happens, we build this resentment over the years, and then we don't even know what we're fighting for.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So if you know what you're fighting for, which is the goal, then you could lean into each other and be each other's ally instead of quiet enemy, or you feel contempt because now he's not available for your kids, he's not available for you. And then over time you want to help him, but then you feel resentful, and then you just building the gap over the years, and before you know it, like I said, you don't even know what you're fighting for, and then you'll question why you're even there. So if my ultimate advice is to seek professional help, because trauma is not something that we take lightly. It's a deep wound from your childhood or recent years that really impacted you. And as we know, that trauma is not really about the event that happened. Trauma is the emotional left over in our body that was not resolved. So if you know that, it's easy to, well, no, I wouldn't say easy, but then you would have a understanding of what's your first step, right?
Yeah.
So it is about what is left in your experience that didn't get resolved, and that you have the capacity and empower yourself to encourage your partner and say, you have to do the work. This is not my work, right? I want you to be part of this family or this relationship, but I need you to show up for yourself so that we can both show up for our family. That's my oh, thanks. All right.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is that trauma is deep, deep wounds, which you cannot see, but doing the work, going to a professional, is when you actually start to see them. And that's when you're able to repair, but that can only be done by yourself. The other person, your partner, can only aid that or help you, support you, but they cannot physically heal that wound unless you're willing, you're ready, and you're prepared. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relationship, often when we're in a relationship, whatever it is, friendship, your relationship with your kids, relationship with your partner, it tends to mirror the things that we need to work on ourselves. And when we see that, the triggers that happens is often the very thing that is unhealed in us, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes when you go into a relationship, oh, I don't like this about my partner, or I don't like this about my partner. It's pause and say, oh my God, what is it about me that I don't like about myself when I do that? Because it's a projection. We judge our partner or we judge other people because of our internal world. What is in what we know, we expose out there, right? So if you're a loving person, you just see love everywhere, right? And there's no question about it. And some people will interpret that in a different way because of their internal understanding of how the world works. And so the communication and honesty needs to happen so that the work can begin. Yeah.
I love that. When I was when I looked at this question, first thing that came to me is this story from The Mastery of Love. It's one of them, The Mastery of Love or The Mastery of the Self, one of those books. I can't pinpoint which one, by Don Miguel Ruiz. And I'd like to share this little story, right? Now, let's imagine there's this planet. Whenever a child is born on this planet, right, you don't see anything. The child is healthy, it's born. At around the age of 6, 7, you start to see wounds on them. And this happens with everybody on that planet, right? You start to see wounds on their body. As they grow older, there are more and more wounds on them. What eventually happens is, now everyone has these wounds, and you can see it. Everyone can see it. Everyone has it. But there is a sense that if I get into a relationship with another person, that this person is going to heal my wounds, right? So people start getting into relationships on this planet. With time, what happens is they start hurting each other. Their wounds start rubbing against each other. And the very, intention of marrying each other or being in a relationship to heal each other gets worse. There's more wound. And all that happens is one person touches the wound, the other person is touching it, and they're just hurting each other. They're hurting it and hurting it and hurting it constantly. Now, if we come back to our planet Earth, it's very similar. The only thing is that we don't see the wound, right? So in a relationship, we end up hurting each other, thinking that that person needs to heal my wound. In reality, only we can heal our wounds. We can only be mindful that this person has wounds as well. And be mindful that I have got wounds as well. And let that person heal. I need to heal as well. But yes, I know, holistically, when you look at it, it makes sense, right? But practically, it's hard. It's hard when you, as you said, when you have kids. You want a certain life for your kids as well, right? But we do end up hurting our kids. We do end up giving them wounds as well because we have not healed our own wounds. We don't realize that with our actions, with our words. If we don't take that action of healing our wounds, we are projecting more wounds on people who we love. They have wounds now. They are growing up. They do the same. So again, healing, taking the time to heal. And as our viewer, the audience has shared this, where she is showing a lot of understanding and giving him the space. So she understands, right? In this case, she knows he's got wounds. She understands that. And she's giving him the space. But sometimes it gets really frustrating because you want that person to learn, to grow, but you end up seeing them not learning, not growing. And it's like, come on. When is this growth going to happen? And that's what I have realized, that it's time to look which wound has been touched within you now. When you feel that, why? Like, why are you using these kind of ways? Like, for example, I don't know the whole story, but say, for example, if this partner or her husband is resorting to alcohol and he's using alcohol as a means to mask his pain. For us, the person who is also doing the inner work, also trying to heal themselves, and they're using, the right means. When I say right means, they're doing the inner work. That's the outer work, right? You have alcohol, mask it, done. So if this person is doing the inner work, for them it's like, why are you doing this? Like this? Really? This is not helping you, right? But when this happens, pause. I know it's, in the moment it's hard because you want to say, okay, you've let it out. It's come out. Next thing you do is pause and check inwards now. Which wound did this hurt you? Because it's something in you that got like touched. And that's why it's like, So yeah, it's then going inwards and seeing, okay, what's still left to be healed there? I'm still feeling that pain. What is it? And that's when you create that compassion for yourself. Okay, I'm healing. Also then start showing that compassion, that understanding for the other person as well. And one last thing that I would like to share is just this knowing on the back of your mind, because I see things in a spiritual way, in a holistic way. Every soul is on their journey, right? That is that person's journey. You can only support and help. You cannot control that journey. You cannot make them become something. They have to become. It's their journey. You don't know what journey they have been on. No matter how much you know their past stories, their past traumas, you don't know the journey of the soul. You have your own journey. They have their own journey. So sometimes, as difficult and hard as it is to see them in pain, to see them go through all these things, remember, that all you can do is send compassion, send love, and remember that it is a soul on a journey. It's their journey. You cannot change it no matter how much you want to.
Oh, that's beautiful. Soul journey. I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think to follow up with that is see your relationship as teamwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think that when we might contradict here for a little bit, but just a tiny bit maybe. I think that we all have our own journey, our personal journey, definitely, and the interdependency in the relationship is very, very important. Like what you said, it's your journey. We have separate world, we have separate growth to embark on, and at the same time, when you build a family, it becomes more complicated than an alone journey. So you have to consider how you're impacting your little ones with the actions that you're taking. So be mindful of that, and to consider how much of this wound are you willing to pass on, right? Because this is what happens with generational trauma, is that when we don't understand what hurt us and what we need healing, we pass it on, like what you said, like we pass it on to the next generation, and then the next generation continue that wound, and before you know it, we're functioning in any kind of relationship that we have in an automatic way of being, because we don't know any better. We didn't have the capacity to understand the depth of how to be the other way, how to be better, because we didn't have it. So now that you're aware of that, this situation is not okay, and that you're suffering, is to accept that, because she asked for the strategy and tools, right? How to embark on it, is to have some self-compassion towards yourself. You're having a hard time right now. You have 2 kids and you have a husband who's having a hard time, but also not to abandon yourself in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he is in a relationship, we have 100 capacity for each one, right? I think Brené Brown talks about this. And the tools that I might give you is to understand your capacity. How much do you have in a day? So if you are at, say, 30%, ask your partner, what does it look like to cover the 70% of the relationship, right? And begin to dissect how to build your relationship in a more powerful teamwork way, and while healing. It's possible. It's really possible, and I've seen it with the couples that I've been coaching, is that when they realize that I have to give it's not like 50% for you, 50% for me. No, it's 100% for both of you, right?
Yeah.
So, but during the time of, it's normal to have like less than 100%, but be honest with your partner and say, today I did not have a good sleep, I didn't have a whatever day, I had an awful day, and I'm at 30% capacity. Are you okay to cover the 70%, right? And the partner, what does that look like? Okay. And then begin the conversation. I need support, pick up the kids or make dinner while I have a nice shower, and then build my cup so that I can build my capacity, so that when time is right for to spend time with the family, I'm at least at a 70%, right? And that's the strategy that I would give it to you. And seek professional help. You're not alone in this. This happens to many of us, and you are not unique in this pain. And there's a lot of people who have gone through this. So reach out, build your community, and start talking about it. Because sometimes when we bottle it up, it's worse in our head, right? And we fantasize, and then we marinate in the resentments, and before you know it, you don't even know why you're angry in the first place.
Yeah.
So seek professional help, have the conversation, and self-compassion. Yeah.
I 100% agree. Yeah, conversation is the key. Sometimes when there's too much going on, conversation is hard, but conversation is the key, right? So, and again, awareness is the key. With my clients, I always ask them to check on a scale. Like you said, the percent, right? I ask them to check on the scale, right? Where is your relationship on a scale of 0 to 10? If you're saying something low as 2 or 3, and you want to be at an 8, you can see there's a lot of work to be done. Are you willing? Are you ready to put in that work? And then take those tiny steps towards. You won't be able to, if you say you're a 6 and you want to be at an 8, then that's a small gap. You know that you will get there quicker. So just knowing, do you have the capacity? Do you have the energy? And do you have the willingness to do that work together to get to your relationship goal, right? So I love what you shared. And yes,
I have a question. So what happens if the partner is no capacity? Say, for example, you're at 2% and then you are at 2%. What would you advise that? Because I know that a lot of people were like, this is where argument starts, right? Because when they say, can you do this for me? No, I don't have time to do that. So then the conflict happens.
Yeah.
And the misunderstanding. And I go, well, can you do this for me instead of this, this, and that? And then the partner will say, I don't have the capacity, right? So what would you do if both parents have no capacity to handle any time in that moment?
Yeah, it's similar to what Brene Brown says, right? If the wife is coming in and saying, today I'm at a 10%, I am like completely drained, and the husband says, well, I'm at a 20% solid. Now what do we do? And she says, now it's time to sit at the table and figure out how can we just manage the day.
Awesome.
How can we just help each other? 10%, 20%, we both low. What are we going to do to help each other today? So that means doing the bare minimum that's required, right?
Awesome.
And just do the minimum that you can. Okay, I'm a 10%, you know I'm a 10%. So this is as much as I can do. That's it. And he'll be like, okay, this is what I can do, and that's it. We're not going any further. So again, having that awareness, right? And not just expecting that, you never help me and this and that. It will happen, and it does happen.
Oh, yes.
All the time.
Yes. That's why I'm saying this is not a unique situation or a challenge. I love that. Sit at the table and be honest. Like what I said too in the beginning, is be honest with each other about your capacity. Beautiful. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. Well, we're nearer to our time. So thank you everyone who's watched. Hi, Tony. Thank you for joining. Hi, Raja. So yes, everyone who joined us, thank you. And you are most welcome to join our group on Facebook if you want to be involved in more of these conversations. Get your answers question, and also be a part, help us out as well at the same time with your knowledge, your wisdom. Share that with us.
Absolutely.
And the links are in our bio to join, right?
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Diana. Thanks for joining today.
Oh, thank you. All right. See you next time.
See you soon. Bye.